Okay, this is asking us to sketch the angles in radians. And since it's asking us just to do it in radians, we're going to do just that in radians. So when we start off, our first, this is a 0 angle, right? That's our first initial. And we'll do each of the axis. So we come up here, and our first axis is going to be pi over 2, 1/2 pi. Halfway across the circle is 180 degrees, or pi, right? So halfway between 0 and pi would be 1/2 pi, or pi over 2. And then we come down here and we take pi plus another half a pi, and that gives us 3 pi over 2. All right, now we'll do the halfway points between the quadrants, which would be here. So halfway between 0 and 1/2 would be 1/4. So that makes this pi over 4. And then halfway between 1/2 and 1 would be 3/4 pi. So this would be 3 pi over 4. Coming down here, halfway between pi and 3.5 pi, that would be so we had 3 pi over 4, 4 pi over 4, 5 pi over 4, 6 pi over 4, which reduces down to 3 pi over 2, and then here is 7 pi over 4. So those are all of our halfway points in our quadrant. Now it says label each third. Really what we're going to do is label each sixth. Because we're dividing, we have 0 to pi, so we're going to divide it into 6, 3 on each part. So we can do this in red. So this is 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, and 6/6, which would be pi. So this first one here is pi over 6. This one would be 2 pi over 6, but we know we can reduce 2 pi over 6 down to pi over 3. Okay, so at the top, at these top intervals, there's always going to be pi over 3. So pi over 3, this is going to be 2 pi over 3. And then we know this one here is our 5 pi over 6. So we have 1 pi over 6, 2 pi over 6, 3 pi over 6, 4 pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, and then 6 pi over 6 or pi, right? 6 pi over 6 equals pi. That brings us down here to 7 pi over 6. And then down here, this would be 8 pi over 6, but again, if we reduce 8 pi over 6, that would be 4 pi over 3. And 9 pi over 6 would be 3 pi over 2. And then we have 10 pi over 6, which reduces down to 5 pi over 3. And then we have 11 pi over 6. And then we have 2 pi. All right, so again, there's basic math behind all of this. Most of you will just sort of try to memorize it, and if you can do that, that's fine. But if you understand that this is broken down into fifths and sixths and thirds and can do your fractions, then you should be pretty good. All right, it says where are the angles acute? Angles are acute between when theta is greater than 0, less than pi over 2. Okay, which would be the same as 90 degrees. Where are they obtuse? Well, then when the angles are greater than pi over 2 and less than pi. So normally we deal 0 to 90 and 90 to 180, but since we're in radians, everything is in radians. How can you calculate coterminal angles in terms of radians? Well, in terms of radians, if we want to calculate coterminal angles, you're going to take that angle, and then you're going to add 2 pi n. Add or subtract. Oh, we have to be careful. Yeah, anyway. And n equals an integer. Okay. How do you find complementary and supplementary? Well, complementary you would take pi over 2 and you subtract whatever your angle is. That angle has to be smaller than pi over 2 because it's it's complementary, they add up to be pi over 2. For supplementary, you want to convert, you would take pi and subtract whatever the angle is, and that would give you your answer. Okay, graph the following angles. First one's pretty straightforward. It's 3 pi over 2. When we graph, we're going to draw our initial side on the positive x-axis. Then we're going to come around. This is 3 pi over 2, which is down here. That's our terminal side. And to indicate this, I'm going to draw like a circular with an arrow. That's to tell that that's the angle that's going from my initial side. It's coming around. And I might even go theta equals 3 pi over 2, just so I know that that's the angle I'm talking about. Okay, 11 pi over 3. Well, 11 pi over 3, let's see. If we go all the way around once, that's going to be 6 pi over 3, right? So if we take 6 pi over 3 and subtract it from 11 pi over 3, we get 5 pi over 3, which is, so what we would be looking at here is we would start from our initial side. We would go all the way around once, because that's 6 pi over 3, and then we'd keep going until we got to here, which is 5 pi over 3, because that's what's left. Okay. And so again, we draw the sort of make a little arrow here. So we've drawn to show we've shown that we've gone all the way around once, and then we kept going until we got to 5 pi over 3. So last one. Okay, negative angle. We have our initial side, but we're just going to go clockwise, negative, and pi over 4, which is 45 degrees. And again, I'm going to draw my little arch here so I can show what direction. I can show that it's negative. Theta equals negative pi over 4. Let's see. We'll do the last one here. Okay, so coterminal angle. Find a coterminal angle, so 2 pi, first graph, 2 pi over 5. Well, where would 2 pi over 5 be? It would be kind of something like this. And so coterminal angle. I mean 2 pi over 5 plus plus 2 pi, right? So that'd be 2 pi over 5 plus, let's do 10 pi over 5, so 12 pi over 5. That'd be my coterminal angle, starting here and going around. There's my 10 pi, and then to here. Okay, complementary angle. I'm going to take for my complementary angle, I'm going to take pi over 2 and subtract 2 pi over 5, which would give me pi over 10, right? Let's see, we would make this 10, so we go this is 5 pi over 10 minus 4 pi over 10 gives me pi over 10. So that would be my complementary angle here. And then supplementary angle. We'd come down here and we would take pi and subtract 2 pi over 5. So that would be 5 pi over 5 minus 2 pi over 5 equals 3 pi over 5. And that would be this angle here. Okay, that's it.